Distinguished viewers, thank you for tuning in. This is your boy, Weekly Flow, and Damian Lillard has officially requested a trade. It has finally happened. It is here. We are in the time of the loyal superstar. He's finally had enough. He wants to get out. He wants out of Portland, and he is in a situation where he is going to have some new threads on by the start of the next season in October. Man, where do we start? Damian Lillard has officially requested a trade. I cannot believe it. My boy Dame. Oh, I love you so much, Dame. But man, it is the writing has been on the wall. It has been on the wall for the past few years, probably at least maybe 2 seasons, I'd say, where like, damn man, Dame's got to get out of there. He's got to get out of Portland. He's got to get out of there. He's got to go get himself a ring. He can't end up ringless. We are at the point where we are going to basically, well, I don't even want to say we're at the point. We've been here. We've been way past it, where all of the reporting is constantly a quote from this podcast about Dame and from this person about Dame, and we're going to see Dame move and we're not going to see Dame move. And Dame's like, oh, I don't want a trade request. And then Dame's like, I want a trade request. We're finally just going to, like, the next things that we hear are just going to be like, hey, this team's going to want Dame. They're going to try to make a move for him. And that's where we're going to go for him. So Dame is linked to heavily Miami. Obviously, that's his number one destination. He wants to go to Miami. He wants to play with Bam. He wants to probably live somewhere that's a lot nicer than Portland. He has been linked to the Nets, which is really interesting. He's been linked to Philly, which makes sense, and has been linked to the Clippers, which is also a really, really interesting situation that he could go to, considering all the stuff that's going on with James Harden and potentially getting traded to the Clippers, which is most likely. And then maybe, what's it? Josh Hart. Is it? Yeah. Josh Hart was tweeting at Dame like, hey, Damian Lillard, like tagging him and stuff. And if he went to the Knicks, that would be incredible. That would just be like pure Knicks basketball. Just like finally like the superstar, the first real superstar since Melo. And then, I mean, Porzingis, he wasn't, he's in Boston now. But speaking of Boston, I think Boston is probably the most likely dark horse in this situation. Maybe they trade Jalen. And they move whatever assets that they have. Those picks that they got from Memphis. Maybe that's something that they move. I don't know if that's possible. I think that I have a grasp on what is legal to move and to trade and when you can do certain things and when you can't do certain things. And then like next thing you know, it's like, oh, actually they can't move this pick because it belongs to this team and they haven't removed protections and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh my God, I don't know. Sometimes the rules in the NBA just feel made up, especially when it comes to trades. I never know what is real and what isn't real. And then obviously, diehard Bucks fan, I have to bring up the fact that there is a route potentially that the Bucks get Dame. They'd have to most likely trade Drew, and then they'd probably have to trade Marjan, and then they would have to trade whatever very little assets you can to get Dame. But is it possible? Probably not. It's probably like 10% possibility that it actually pans out if the Bucks can somehow throw their hat into the ring. Horst has done some crazier things before for point guards to contend, and maybe that one point guard is involved in this trade. We'll have to see, because Dame has talked about wanting to play with Giannis and wanting to have each other's game complement each other really well, because they really could. It would be really amazing. Is it going to happen? I would love it. I would get a Dame jersey ASAP. A Dame jersey in the new, whatever new Bucks jerseys they come out with this year. Would absolutely love them. Is it going to happen? Probably not. Is the Boston thing going to happen? Probably a little bit more likely. Probably not. I'm leaning towards the Miami thing working out. Now, Miami would have to give up $41.5 million to get him, and that 9.5-ish million or so that they gave OKC, or that OKC signed Vic for, Oladipo for. Maybe that, because that isn't official technically, maybe that's a part of the deal, or maybe it's like an actual unicorn in a 5-team trade. Is that going to happen? OKC, Portland, Miami, Philly, the Clippers. Is that going to happen? Probably not. Would it be incredible? Yeah, it would be incredible to see. Picks all the assets that OKC has going to probably Portland, probably maybe Philly, maybe Miami. They get something because they're giving other things up. Tyler Hero has to get moved. If James Harden is somehow a part of this crazy 5-team trade where a bunch of teams are getting in on it and they're trying to basically like OKC is like a dealer at this point. They're just dealing out first round and second round picks. It would be crazy to see more than like 8 picks get moved, but across different teams. That would be wild, and not all just second round picks like the Bucks did with Jay Crowder. Considering that's probably going to shoot them in the foot, or they probably shot themselves in the foot. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. But I think we're in this position where, as NBA fans, we're going to have to accept that if superstars aren't getting their way, I think the whole Dame Lillard kind of approach, I think that's pretty much dead. Unless Embiid, because that's the thing, is the Sixers were in a situation where they did have adequate enough help, where they were a good team. They've been a top seed for the past however many years at this point. They finally got Embiid his MVP. He's in this position where he technically still had a contending roster around him, whereas Portland didn't necessarily. But now Embiid is probably going to lose Harden. Does that mean he gets Dame and they finally go for it together as the guys who've been trying really, really, really hard, but health and other situations have prevented them from doing so? We'll see. But I think if Tatum doesn't get one in the next few years, he's probably not going to be a for lifer. Even though he loves Kobe and he's trying to be like Kobe's clone or whatever, he's probably going to get out of there if he doesn't get himself a ring. Giannis got himself a ring, so that's not necessarily something to worry about. But does he try to leave to get another one in a few years? Does he not sign an extension? Does he sign the extension next season and then becomes an unrestricted free agent and he lets it end? Who knows? We'll see what happens. But if there's a superstar, particularly a young guard who can't, or who finds themselves in a position, say someone like, I know he's not a one-teamer, but say someone like Shea, he doesn't get the opportunity to win. Does he say like, hey, I want to go play for, I don't know, Chicago or Indiana or, Phoenix maybe? And that's another thing is Phoenix kind of forewent that whole situation where it's like, yeah, we're not going to be in a situation where we're going to be like, hey, maybe we'll be able to get a championship this year. Whereas they're like, no, we're going to try and get ourselves a ring and we're going to do everything that we can. Who cares if we don't have a first round pick or any picks until 2031? We want to win a championship. And that's what matters most. We have Devin Booker, we have KD. We want one for Phoenix. We want to get that first ring for Phoenix. I am going to miss Dame, man. I'm going to miss Dame in Portland. I'm one of my first and best earliest NBA memories. I started really, really, really watching NBA when it was 2014, 2015. So the first year that the Warriors won. No, I don't want to say then. I'd say the year before that when the Spurs beat Miami and they beat LeBron. That was my first season being really, really invested. I watched a few years prior because I was like 10 years old, 11 years old at that point. But those 2 years were my first real years following. I followed since Giannis was a rookie, and then the really bad season, and then the following season when they made it and they went against the Bulls and the famous Jared Bayless backdoor cut layup over D Rose, and that was probably my first year. But also in that same season is when Portland sends Houston home off the Damian Lillard running and clapping and catching, getting it off with 0.9 seconds left. Lillard, he got the shot off good, and the whole crowd goes crazy. And the first time in 14 years or whatever. That was one of my earliest memories of like spectacular superstardom and just like awe in NBA, just a magical moment. And it's not gonna be there, man. He's had so many legendary moments, man. Whatever team he goes to, that tribute video back when he goes back to Portland for the first time, it's going to hit different. It's going to be sad. People are going to be crying. But right now, all I know is that there's some dude who's been a Blazer fan for like basically the majority of his life. He's like 44 years old and he's probably burning his Lillard jersey right now. He's burning that 2021 earned edition jersey and it's in flames at the moment. Let me know what you think. Oh man, if Dame could be on the Bucks, get Drew out of there, get a real point guard, that would be incredible stuff. I would be absolutely astonished, speechless if Dame ended up in Milwaukee. I think that would probably be the news of the summer. Obviously, this is the news of the summer. Whatever team he goes to, it's going to be news of the summer. But if John Horst, who's been dubbed John Heist by Frank Madden, if he pulls it off, man, that would be incredible. That would be a full court heave to win in Game 7, essentially. And that would be, we'd be seated. But let me know what you think. I appreciate the watch. I appreciate all the likes. I appreciate all the support. It means the world. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love you. You are loved. And I will see you next time. Deuces.